All right, in this video, I'm going to help you understand how to find the antiderivative of a variable raised to a power. So we're going to find the integral of x cubed dx. Now, one thing we need to understand is I'm going to show you two ways to look at this problem, okay? One way is just to help you understand what we're moving into later on in this video. The other is just a quick, easy way to go about this. So let's start with the long way. I know that if I have x cubed here, technically I have a coefficient of 1 showing right there. We just never write that down. So I'm going to write it down, 1x cubed. Okay, now when we are taking the integral, what we got to do is we got to take this power and we're going to put that down on the bottom. We're going to make a fraction here and we're going to say 3, but increase the value by 1. So you just steal this number, bring it on down, increase the value by 1, making this a 4. We'll get there in a second. But then we also have to increase the power by 1 as well. So once we do that, we have integrated this problem. So we got x to the 4th, x to the 3 plus 1 makes x to the 4th. The 1 just doesn't need to be shown, but I'm going to show it anyways, over 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. So you could write this problem out as 1/4 x to the 4th. Now don't forget, you also have to add c every time when you're integrating these. Okay, you're adding that constant of c every single time, so do not forget that. Okay, now how would I go about this a much quicker, easier way instead of creating a fraction over here off to the side? What I would tell you to do, once you get the hang of it and you have an understanding of what's happening, just increase this value by 1 and put the number as well that you get up here down on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to just say, all right, increase the power by 1, that's x to the 4th. Down on the bottom, we need to put a 4 as well. Done, but don't forget we need to add that constant of c at the end. And you've now integrated x cubed dx. Now, I'm going to go over a couple more of these so that we can get some repetition in, get some speed going with that, and then I'll increase the rigor just a little bit. So let me change this problem. We'll just change it from x to the 3rd power to x to the 2nd power dx. So again, what are we going to do? Increase the value by 1, x cubed. What goes on the bottom? 3. What do we have to not forget about? Plus c. Ta-da, you're done. You got it. You figured it out. Okay, let's step it up just a little bit. Just teeny tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to change from a 1 being my coefficient here. Let's change that to a 5. And let's put a power of 4 up there. Okay, so now the reason I showed you at the beginning with a 1 and making that 1/4 fraction is because a little bit changes here. Not so much changes, just more you're going to see something different. So let's think about this. We're going to end up getting 5 over, remember that would go down on the bottom, so we're going to say 4 plus 1. We have to always increase it by a value of 1. Okay, we've got x over here, and we got to increase that 4 plus 1 as well. Now what happens is you're going to end up getting 5 over 5. We all know 5 divided by 5 is 1, so that's just going to eliminate essentially, and we won't show the 1 in a second. We're going to get to the power of 5 over here plus c. Again, 5 over 5 is 1, so our final answer is going to be x to the 5th plus c. You found the antiderivative of 5x to the 4th power. Okay. Anything else we can go over? Of course, let's do some negative exponents. How could I possibly forget about negative exponents? That's where it gets tricky and kids all of a sudden start making mistakes. X to the negative 2nd power. Okay, so we've got 1 over negative 2 plus 1. X to the, what's negative 2 plus 1? Better be careful there. It's negative 1. Plus c. Now, negative 2 plus 1, we've already done that. We got a value of negative 1, so now we got 1 over negative 1, x to the negative 1st power plus c. So what I would expect my students to do here is just eliminate that fraction and just say opposite of x to the negative 1st power plus c. Ta-da, we're done. All right. Anything else that I want to go over? Let's see, I wrote a few problems down over here. Yeah, let's do it with a variable just so you have a really clear understanding of this. This would be the rule. This is what you'd be shown in like an algebra course. X to the nth power. Okay, all we're doing is saying 1 over n plus 1, x to the n plus 1, plus c. Once you get this, you could say, no need to show that 1. Let's just put x on top over n plus 1. So just moving that to the top. N plus 1 plus c. can't really simplify this because a variable can't add to a constant, and we all know that by now. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Good luck on your upcoming test. Study hard. You guys got this.